Good people, what's going on? You guys are watching your favorite podcast, Connecting the Dots. We're back. It's your boy Caleb Smith.
And I am Kimmy Coco.
Cool. And Kim, these past 2 weeks has been crazy. What's been going on in the news?
So much. But I think that the thing that we should get to first is the Florida governor's race and the Senate race. And it looks like they're both going to be headed for a recount. And the one that I was pulling for, Andrew Gillum, he conceded the night of the election. I guess we haven't been here.
I was mad too.
We haven't been here since then, but everyone was kind of caught by surprise when he came out and said that he was giving up and congratulated his opponent.
DeSantis.
And DeSantis was like, oh, well, great. Yeah, it's over with. And so, but even as they were counting the votes back then on that night, it was still, he hadn't gotten to 51%, and it was getting very, very close. So it kind of threw me off when he conceded. I mean, they actually were going to his camp on the news, and I was watching it at home, the results. And when they came back, he was giving his concession speech, and we were like, what? Like, it was weird.
Yeah.
Here in Georgia, too, man, Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp are going back and forth.
Crazy.
She has her legal team now on it, so they can either force a recount or a runoff, a vote. I guess we would have to vote again on December 4th.
I would do it.
If it came back to that.
Yeah.
And I would, too. There's also, in Arizona, they may be headed for a recount there too.
Are you serious?
The Republicans are saying though that they think that one should have a recount, but they don't think that the races here in the South should have a recount. And it's weird because I think that it would be in their favor. Actually, I think it's because it's two white people. But
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
So definitely everything that's going on in this country has brought more attention to race.
Yes. That's facts.
And
That's facts.
fact that we still haven't come together, and the fact that that still plays a major role in the political climate
till this day.
So we'll see what happens. I really, really think, everybody's been watching all week. Stacey Abrams is at 48.8%, and Brian Kemp right now is at 50.3%.
And mind you, though, Kim, earlier in the week, excuse me, she was at 47. So seeing how it's like steadily going up, it's crazy because me personally, I don't get how this is constantly going up. Like, once the votes are supposed to be in, it's supposed to be in, but it shows they can still fix numbers, all that stuff. So it's scary.
And earlier this week, Brian Kemp and the current governor had announced that they are going to start Brian Kemp's transition. And also the governor, who's the governor right now, his wife said something that was really shady.
Governor Deal?
Yeah.
He supports Kemp. Yeah.
His wife said something that was very shady. She said that Stacey Abrams wasn't fit to clean the governor's mansion or something like that.
Wow.
These
people are wild.
It's just...
These people are wild. I'm telling you, Trump is giving them so much courage and so much white pride. It's on a whole different level right now. So it's crazy. And I think that the clip that I showed you like 10 minutes ago, of course, we don't have to agree with everything.
I mean, we're gonna have to bring that up because I think that as a people, we need to have that discussion.
Right.
People have like what they say the quote unquote midterm blues because it's like we pushed all these people to vote, and then the people that their argument is why it doesn't count. You know what I mean? It kind of just makes them feel validated when stuff like this happens.
Let's talk about it because right now I don't like people being so divisive, and even if we don't agree, don't talk about it in front of white people. That's the thing that makes me mad.
We don't
do that.
It's not.
Don't do that.
It's because of the internet and because of all the.
It's impossible.
It's kind of impossible. Yeah. We don't really have our own space anymore. And when we did have our own space, we opened it and we shared it. So it's like, I mean, once upon a time, hip hop was that. And
True.
Shout out to Ice Cube. He made a new song about Trump. It's a good song.
That's what's up.
But I don't know.
Okay.
It's just, I think your argument was, because you saw that video when you said to me, well, what do we say to the people that voted and now they see all this stuff going on?
Right.
We still got to vote.
Yeah. We did. And I think that sometimes Rizza Islam, shout out to him, although, we don't agree with everything that he said, what he said that really struck me is if we are going to vote, we have to have solutions behind the vote. Like, we just can't vote just because we even talked about that this past Sunday. Like, we just can't cast the vote and say, I did my part, because we have to have like an actual platform, a plan, all that stuff, because every other race does that. So we have to be on that same wave as well.
Okay, so us having to come together financially, be more financially aware,
right.
educate ourselves on financial products and stuff like that is a conversation that we continuously have, and that's true. But what we do is we, at the last minute, everybody goes and registers to vote. Everybody runs and votes for this one election, and then they don't have enough polling machines. They don't have enough. They're not prepared.
I remember when you said that.
Because we don't get involved soon enough so that they can gauge, like, oh, wow, 10,000 people voted last time. Well, now 50,000 people are voting, and we're not ready.
Yeah.
So we have to let our voices be heard in every avenue. Even though the Asians, and like what his argument was that, they don't come out here and they don't vote. Right. But they stick together financially, so they can establish their own foundations in their own neighborhoods. So
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But if you are the ones that the majority of the government is going to have control over,
literal control,
whether it be like from prison or whether it be from like welfare or whether it be public housing or whether it be assisted housing, if you're going to be a people that has a position in that category, then you need to have a voice in that category.
Most definitely.
So, I mean, I agree with what they're saying, but I also agree that we need to do both.
I agree as well.
Because as much as those people come here, and they come here on a mission, like they come here to make money, they come here to start businesses. And so, it probably works out for them because they came here with that agenda, where we have been having to start from nothing. A lot of us.
That's real. And I think that sometimes black people sleep on this a lot, because I hate hearing this sometimes, that we should do more, or that, we aren't doing what we're supposed to be doing. But if you think about it, every single time that we've actually made real progress, it's been dismantled every single time. We can talk about the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, that Black Wall Street. Like, we can just keep going on and on.
It goes on
so
and on.
I think that the blueprint is out there, but we have to just keep trying at it. But people can't say that we haven't done anything or that we aren't trying, but we just have to do all that we can during this time.
Man, listen. This whole week has just been so telling about how much of a clown the president is. Like, even from his press conference.
You saw that? I don't like you because you always ask
hard
dumb questions. What's the dumb
question?
He
didn't even say hard. He said dumb.
What's a dumb question?
A dumb question is, why the fuck are you being investigated by by Mueller
honest
in the first place for the Russians? That's what she wanted to know. That's what we all wanted to know. That wasn't a dumb question. She wanted to know if you were concerned or if you were going to be involved in what's going on with the Russian investigation, and that's what she asked you, and you avoided the question because you felt guilty. That's the bottom line. Because he was just all in his feelings throughout that whole press conference. When he walked out there, you could tell on his face that he had an attitude, because a lot of the people that he went for, they didn't win. So now the Democrats are in the majority.
And Kim, I got to say this. All the people who voted for Kemp in Georgia, all the people who voted for DeSantis in Florida, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Like, we have
Ted Cruz.
Like, we have outward racists, and these people still vote for these guys.
They're not ashamed, and this is what I want. This is what I want the Democrats to stop doing. I want Nancy Pelosi to stop coming out there with her soft voice and saying we're going to be bipartisan and we're going to reach across the aisle and talk to them like they're talking to us.
Yeah, same energy.
Somebody needs to give them back what they're giving to us, and it's like, forget about it. All that diplomacy and democracy that we supposed to stand on, it's out the window. This guy doesn't pay attention to any of that stuff. He's mad disrespectful, and y'all are out here trying to hold hands and play pity pat with him. No, because guess what's going to happen? Whenever the Democrats want to pass something, they're going to have to negotiate with them. And they're going to probably take impeachment and put that into something that they want, you know what I mean, to try to make it so that, okay, I'll give you this, but you have to give me that.
Right.
And I don't want them to work like that. I want them to get him out of here.
Yeah. Well, Kim, I have a question, because I think about this all the time. How do you feel when some people question, hey, why do we consider ourselves Democrats or anything?
I don't care. The name. Take the names off. Take all that off. Get to the people and what they're about. What's their mission? What do they stand for? What are they going to do for you? And it's that simple. The only thing is, we are in a democracy, and that's the way they split it up. Republican, Democrat,
or independent, like some of those people who make me mad.
But it's like, okay, that's the way it is, and until they completely just whatever, that would take years.
Yeah,
take the names off and just look at the people. Like, I get it. They're like, well, why do we have to say that we're Democrats? You don't.
Yeah.
If you take that name and that word off, and you just look at the person and what that person is gonna do,
you just choose that.
Choose that.
Yeah.
So do you feel like a dictatorship would be good then? If it's just one way?
That's a good question.
No, there's not one way.
At the end of the day, like, the Democrats and Republicans, it's like we got a war on the turf. Because it's supposed to be, my thing is with politics that I don't understand is, why are we going against each other when we all got one goal?
Left wing, right wing. That same
we got
bird.
one country we're trying to represent, but we still divided. So it's going to be a war regardless. With a dictatorship, it's one way. We're going to do it this way.
It's that simple.
We're not.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I just feel like.
Or having a king, having a queen, monarchy, something like that.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. Because, I mean, I completely agree as well, because it doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, someone's going to be dissatisfied with who's in office.
At the end of the day, nobody's going to like, I mean, you can't, somebody's going to be, they're not going to like what's going on.
Yep.
I don't get why in every country, everybody has like revolutions and they overthrow the government, and we sit here and watch all this stuff go on, and whenever there's a shooting or something go on, it's because of something stupid. It's never because somebody is just out here like, yo, I mean this, like, we need to stop.
We about to change America.
Right, we about to change, we about to, like, you know what I mean? We never get to that.
Yeah.
And as much as African American men and women have been oppressed over after centuries and centuries in this country, you would think that we would be the ones out here wilding out, but it's never us.
The whites are wilding, huh?
The whites are wilding.
Yeah, and I think that black people,
They'll stop at nothing.
They won't. So, do you guys feel like black people, we are afraid to actually create real change or revolt or do like whatever it takes when it takes to kill somebody?
I think that,
take action. I think we got a lot of great ideas. I wouldn't even
everyone
say
wants to be the one to head it up.
I wouldn't really say that. We don't know how to execute it. Like
Facts.
you said earlier, like all the plans that we have put in place, they've been shut down.
Every single time.
And it's like, man, we don't have the confidence to execute these.
Yeah, it's like there's no point.
And to Kim's point, like, you know, everybody want to be the top dog. Everybody want to be the head. Don't nobody want to follow.
Speaking on that too, man, Tariq Nasheed, seeing Roland Martin call him a unconscious Negro or something like that. I'm like, what are we doing?
They always do that.
Roland Martin was the main one talking about Umar Johnson trying to divide black people, but I'm like, bro, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. Like, you shouldn't call nobody a Negro on national television. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. It's crazy.
Man. So another thing, after that meltdown that the president had, and he started insulting everybody and bringing up people that weren't even there. I don't know what he was doing, but they were all mostly African-American women that he insulted. But at the press conference, he told someone at CNN that they couldn't come there anymore. He revoked his press pass.
That's a wild boy, man. I tell you.
So after that, he fired Jeff Sessions immediately.
Yep.
So now Whitaker is supposed to be stepping in for Jeff Sessions, and he used to say that he was this good guy. Trump used to say that Whitaker was a great guy. Now he's saying he doesn't know him.
This is pure comedy.
It's funny, right? It's funny because he lies all the time, and the press get mad at him.
He doesn't even notice when he lies.
And then they go back and write this big old tweet, or they write an article in the Washington Post about how rude and obnoxious he is. I would just straight up laugh at him. If I was a reporter, I would laugh in his face because he's a clown.
He is. And again, and you said it perfectly, Kim. Diplomacy, that's out the window. Democracy, all that stuff. This is a real life reality show.
You're gonna have to fight for everything that you want now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So right before Jeff Sessions left, he signed one piece of legislation. At one point, I think there was going to have to be like 2 top people that were going to have to approve whether a police officer gets punished for his actions. But now you only need 1 or something like that. Okay. But he's definitely left his mark before he got fired, and his pro-police policies are going to be in effect for a long time until they get somebody else. I mean, this guy right now, Whitaker, he's just a stand-in person. He was never appointed. I remember in the previous episode we discussed that he has his pick of who he wants to, and it could be somebody that has already been approved by the Senate, like somebody that's in his cabinet already. This guy isn't, so no one knows anything about him. The previous comments that he has made about him has been like, oh, no, I don't think that the president should be impeached, and I don't think that they should be investigating the Russia thing. They giving him a hard time. So we need to just figure out what's going to go on with that, because that's the top cop in the world, in this country, I mean. So if he is on some bullshit, we're all in trouble.